Thanks everyone for joining me. This is April with another episode on the Travel Collective. Today we're talking with Eve, and I'm excited to hear all about her travels. Apparently, she's been traveling a lot the past 10 years and all the other travel related good stuff. So, welcome, Eve.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's been a lot of travel the last 10 years. I never thought the dog daycare industry would require that much travel, but it certainly does.
Yeah, so tell us about, how quickly sometimes you have to be packed and ready to travel, maybe some of the places that you go frequently, how long these trips are.
Yeah, so there's one conference that I go to religiously. It's the Owners of Dog Daycare Conference, and they rotate that one. So the organization, which is just a Facebook group, by the way, just a
Oh,
group of dog daycare owners internationally, and we vote as to where we want our next conference to be. Most of us vote for somewhere warm because it's always at the end of January. So
oh.
winter has set in the Midwest at least. So I certainly enjoy it when it's warm. But that was one that I have gone to for 10 years religiously. I never miss it. In fact, the last 2 years I've been the MC for that conference. So that one is lots and lots and lots of fun because I'm with other owners of dog daycare conventions. And that one in particular, I always bring my mother and my daughter with.
Oh,
So
nice.
they travel with me frequently. My daughter is now 12, so she has been coming since she was 2 years
Yeah.
old. And yeah, so we always go. In fact, that organization always double checks that they're coming because now they actually have a job at that conference. They work security. They
Oh,
work
really?
the front desk and they make sure everybody has their name badge on so that way they can come in. So that's kind of great. And then they always, the committee there always gifts them something. So it's just great that an organization has kind of taken in my family who I travel with
Yes.
as a single mom. And then I bring my mom with as well. So that is my religious one. That one has taken me so many places, Las Vegas, Nashville, Tennessee, Orlando twice, Las Vegas, San Diego, um, New Orleans, which has now become one of my favorite places to go. So we'll definitely talk
Yeah,
about
we
that.
have to talk about that because you've
Yes,
been
yes.
more recently than I have. So I want to hear about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that one takes us everywhere, which is great. And now this upcoming convention is in San Diego again. So that one's great. Another one I go to is a pet boarding and daycare expo in Hershey, Pennsylvania. So I've been to that one 6 times. Hershey, Pennsylvania, chocolate, if you love
Yeah.
chocolate. That one I travel with my team. So for Dog Handler Academy. So I own several dog daycares, and then I own an employee training platform that is in 14 countries. So I also travel to these conventions and have a booth and set up and bring all my swag. Um, but Hershey, Pennsylvania, we go to religiously. And then they have a West Coast one that used to be in California, and now they just moved that one to Las Vegas. So that one I strictly take just my staff with. So we pack all of our swag in suitcases.
Wow. Yeah, that's
So
a challenge right there, and hope that it doesn't get
absolutely.
lost or
Oh,
everyone else is.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. My one staffer, like she watches that app. Oh, our luggage is on board. And she gets all excited. She's like, we're good. We're good. We've
Yeah,
got it all.
exactly.
So yeah, so we always ship our booth, but then the bags that we hand out, the pens, sunglasses. Um, Recently, our newest one has been, phone holders. So all that stuff, we pack it up into suitcases. And here's a travel tip: we pack a suitcase that can fit into another suitcase.
No,
So,
that is really smart. So if you give away everything, I imagine.
right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. So I might pay for an extra bag on the way out. Usually I just upgrade to first class on the way out. So then we get 3 bags each.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we do business class on the way back because then we each only have 2 bags or maybe 1 bag each. So we always pack suitcases that fit inside of suitcases. So that way on the way back, we don't have as much luggage. Also, a great tip, valet parking. When
Oh.
you have that many bags that you need to get out of your car, you pay extra for valet parking, and that pays for itself in your time and your sweat equity,
Yes,
literally from trying to
exactly.
lug all of those through the ramp. I primarily fly out of Minneapolis, major metro, Minneapolis, Minnesota. And those valet guys, they know me. They see me pull up and they're like, how many bags today? Um, so that's a great tip to utilize valet. Again, if I'm traveling with my mom, she walks with a cane. I have a small child and I have 6 to 8 pieces of luggage.
Right, exactly. And just to get it out and onto the curb and, same thing if you get to the hotel. I mean, get
Oh,
it to
absolutely.
hauled to the front desk and all of that. Oh,
Again, that's sweat equity. Like literally, you're sweating to death, getting all that in. Your anxiety is now, at least at a level 7, maybe
yes,
8,
exactly.
depending. I don't want to start out my event or my day that way or end my day that way. So for the extra $15 a day is what it cost me at the Minneapolis airport, an extra $15 a day for me to have my car in valet, which also it's safe and secure because it's an underground parking. I don't have to worry
Yeah.
about somebody breaking into it or my catalytic converter being stolen at the airport. And then yeah, they unload everything. We take it right to the gate. We come back. It's super nice. So it's worth it. And I always look at things of time, effort, sanity.
Yes. Oh, yeah, definitely. A lot of times those few extra dollars are totally worth what you're going to save in stress or maybe panicking that you're not going to make your flight or any
Oh,
of
big
that.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you've ever had to circle the airport in the parking ramp trying to find that place to park, and then you're like, okay, I have 45 minutes to check my bag, get through security, and get to my gate. No, valet parking, 100%. So now that's like my thing. I have it all built into my timeline. I don't have to get to the airport 2.5 hours early. I can get to the airport at an hour beforehand. My mom and my daughter are TSA approved as well. So we fly so much now that it's just make it easier, right? Zoom in, zoom
Right.
out. And I actually I timed it different one time. I tried the first class line versus the TSA. No, TSA won.
Yeah.
Got me through way faster. I was like, okay, I will forever do TSA.
Right. And that's smart. Exactly. It's worth the extra to get that
Yeah,
set up.
absolutely. And I just had to renew my TSA. It was so easy. You just enter it in online, you pay the money, you're good to go.
Yeah.
So he did tell me that they re-verify everything. So your address gets re-verified, your background check all gets re-verified, but it was this extremely painless process.
Wow.
So I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
So Hershey, Pennsylvania, we take a lot of stuff out to the West Coast. We take a lot of stuff. And then there's some other conferences that I attend and they rotate where they're located. So they go East Coast, Midwest, and West Coast. So they rotate them. They have taken me to Richmond, Virginia, Memphis, Tennessee, Sacramento, California. I'm going to Fort Worth, Texas, Tucson, Arizona, Reno, Nevada. So a lot of different places. Not all of them are major metros. Um, Learned a lot of lessons when you're traveling with, again, 6 to 8 suitcases, multiple people. Um, One time we thought we would cheapen out when we flew to Hershey, and we actually flew into the next biggest city. I think it was Philadelphia, maybe, or Boston.
Right.
And we're like, okay, we'll rent a car, and then we'll do the hour drive into Hershey, Pennsylvania, because flights were $1,000 a piece, and we could get
Oh,
this flight for 350. Car rental, we'd still save a
oh
couple
yeah.
hundred bucks.
Right.
Yeah, no, no. So flying into that airport to get to the rental car area, you have to load all your luggage onto a bus and then you get bussed to said rental car. Okay, 2 people, 6 suitcases.
Yeah. No.
Did not go over well. And
No.
they are full. We max out at 48 pounds every suitcase. And then our carry ons are usually 60 pounds. Those little tiny suitcases, we put all the heavy stuff into those
Yes.
little tiny suitcases. So that's 60 pounds. Yeah, it's that sweat equity. We burned all that $200 in sweat equity and anxiety. And then I'm driving a rental car at night to my
Yeah.
destination. We forgot to add in the cost of having a car on site. They charged for that.
Oh.
Yeah, so that was an extra $20 a day. So our cost savings was like $60.
Oh, maybe. You know,
Was not worth it.
it's not worth it. Right.
No, because then the hour drive back, now we were down to 4 suitcases, which was great, but still had to throw them onto the bus, take the bus, and they said plan an hour for car rental return. So
Yeah.
now we're getting to an airport 2.5, almost 3 hours. Well, that was time.
Yeah, exactly.
And, most people always forget about the value of their time when they travel. So I really try now to add that into my cost of travel.
Right. Exactly. So how
Um,
soon do you once you hear about a conference, because a lot of times these conferences are announced like a year in advance, how soon are you buying these plane tickets? Do you find, because we're all trying to figure out these algorithms, how
oh,
soon, how
yes.
late? Do you have any suggestions that have worked, that don't work, or just
Yeah.
at some
So
point
we
it just doesn't
usually,
matter?
yeah, no, absolutely. And it does, like you said, we usually know well in advance. So we usually buy our tickets on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, and we start looking at prices about 6 months out. And I'm going to fully admit I have become a spoiled brat and I fly Delta almost exclusively because I like to know where my seat is. I need to
Yeah.
make sure my people are next to me because we're doing work, or
Right.
I'm not going to have my 12-year-old,
Oh
sitting somewhere
yeah.
else.
Right.
Um, most of my flights are at least 2 hours, if not 3 to 3.5. So in those situations, I want to be fed, I want to have a movie to watch, and I want to be relaxed.
Yeah.
So that way I'm not getting to that destination uh, all stressed out. So recently I didn't fly Delta. I flew another airline. I just made an assumption because I had been flying Delta exclusively for about 3 years.
Oh wow. Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, we the flights, the times weren't working. It was a last minute flight down to New Orleans, and Delta just wasn't getting me there at the times that I needed. And their ticket was like $1,300, and I was like, ish.
Yeah.
So I flew a different airline. I had to go to a different terminal at the airport, so no valet parking.
Oh no.
It was just me traveling because I was going to give a presentation. I still had a bag of swag, so I still had 2 big suitcases plus my carry-on because I had to take all my stuff. So I'm at a different terminal, no valet. I forgot to take a picture of where I parked.
Oh no. Oh no.
Scurry into the terminal, and I was like, no big deal. It was early in the morning. I'll just grab breakfast there. There's all these places at the Minneapolis airport. Yeah, at Terminal 1 there is, not
Right.
at the Opry terminal. We had Caribou coffee and Subway. Everything
Oh
else was a vending
no.
machine. And I was like, okay, okay. So I got a Caribou coffee. It was fine, and a bagel. So I survived. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, ask the lady next to me, I'm like, what are the signs that say 1 through 4 and five
Oh
through
yeah.
10? And I said, what does that mean? She goes, oh, that's where you stand in line based on where you are to get on the plane. I'm like, we don't have assigned seats? And she's like, no, 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 no. You pick your own seat. But if you're in the front, then you get to pick your seat. And if you're in, oh, well,
Oh
how do,
no.
how do,
Yeah.
how do I get to the front? So I download the app and she shows me I paid the extra $40. So now I'm in that front section so I can
Right.
pick my seat. And I was like, okay. So I thought it was weird that there wasn't like a business class or anything like that. And so I get on the plane and I sit down and I'm like, where's the monitor on the seat? There's no screen. Nobody has a screen.
Oh no.
And I'm like, okay. The guy sits down next to me and he pulls out this little gadget and he hooks it on the seat in front of him and he puts his phone in there. And I was like, I'm gonna have to live off my phone.
Yeah, you're like, oh no.
I don't have battery backup. Are there chargers? Nope, no chargers.
Oh no.
I'm like, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. So I don't connect to the Wi-Fi. I actually went in and I cleared out tons of photos. Like I did a lot of cleanup on my phone. But instead of sitting up nicely and staring at my screen, I'm like this
Oh, your neck. Yeah.
for an hour and 35 minutes. And my phone's at 20%. And
Oh no.
I'm like in panic mode because I had a little layover to get to New
Yes.
Orleans and I was like, it'll be fine. I'll go to a cafe. I have an hour and a half layover and I'll make sure I can plug my phone in. So the flight was fine. Everything was fine. I got my Chex Mix and my glass of water. I was like, oh, there's no biscottis. It's
Right,
just
right. No.
okay. It's fine. So sat at my layover, made sure my phone was fully charged, got on the flight again. I was like, I was prepared. I stopped at one of the little stores in the airport and got myself a little holder thing and made sure I had my headphones that weren't buried in my bag somewhere.
Yeah.
And got to New Orleans and I called my staff and I'm like, if there is any way you can switch me over to Delta, I will take that.
Right. You're like
They were
it's
like, was it that bad? I said, it wasn't bad. It was just a different expectation. Flight attendants were hilarious. Like
yeah,
everything was fine. I got where I needed to be. It just was not my expectation.
right.
I didn't bring an extra battery backup. I didn't bring a fancy holder to stick in the phone, in the seat. Oh, and then on the flight back, the little holder that I bought didn't work on the flight back because it was
Oh,
different style of seats.
right. Oh no.
So here I am again with my head down.
Yeah, it's like when you're gonna fly, it's like if you have a favorite airline and you like the way they do things, it's
Yes,
almost worth it just to keep flying them, build up your points with them,
100%.
100%, get even, look into a co-branded credit card because sometimes you get point perks with that.
I have that 100%. Yeah. And
Yeah.
it was really just that I didn't read the fine print. I assumed all airlines
Yeah.
did this. I had no idea that I mean, now don't get me wrong. Like I have flown Sun Country before when I did a one-way flight to Detroit. It was a
Yeah.
45-minute flight. I can do a Sun Country for 45 minutes. No problem. But when I'm taking hour-long flights,
Yeah.
that's a lot. That's a lot
Or
to
and depending on where you're going to do, like you, if you're going right to a conference, I mean, you need to be rested, you need to be in conference mode, not, this isn't just a lazy vacation or you're just going to go see
correct.
family and it's okay. You're in business mode. So some of these things really do matter.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that one I was stressed. I got to the hotel, I checked in, I went down. Thank God they had a 24-hour cafe. I got myself a little bottle of wine. I got some
Yes.
cheese and crackers. I was like, whoosh, I need to like de-stress from that. Made sure I had all my stuff. Everything was great. Again, airline was very pleasant. They were super sweet. They were very nice. I just I didn't know. I did not know. So that was an eye opener for me to if I'm going to travel in a different airline, I need to prep myself a week in advance at least.
Yeah, right.
I could have ordered some stuff off Amazon. Like I could have, I
Right,
could have just been better
exactly.
prepared.
Right, right.
Eaten breakfast before I drove to the airport. That would have been helpful, probably.
Yeah. Yeah, just those kind of things. Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah. So that was an eye opener. And then when I flew back, I did end up on the same airline, but I flew back, and again, I forgot to take a picture because I was in the different different terminal. So I knew I had ridden the elevator. So I went to the second
Oh.
floor, get out, and I knew I was at the end of the main walkway. So I go to the beep in my car
Yes,
thing.
oh yeah.
Nope, come back to the thing, go up to the net third level, walk all the way in. Nope, come back. I was on the fourth floor. So it took me a few tries to get to my car. And the whole
Wow.
time I'm laughing at myself, going, yep, I'm a creature of habit. I wasn't in the habit of checking where I parked.
Right.
Lesson learned. Lesson learned.
Exactly. And that's what
Yeah,
I love about travel is we do learn things. It just forces us to learn a lot, either about ourselves and the way we like to travel. Again, there's no right or wrong way to
nope,
travel is what I love to tell people on this channel and I love to for some people the budget airline works for them, but they know how it works for them. They know what they're
correct.
bringing. They know how to pack. They know they can only do X, Y, or Z. And likewise, if you have an airline you love, I am all for just sticking with that airline because, you will in the long run, sometimes better than swapping back and forth because
Oh,
they're all so
100%.
different.
Yeah. So every time that I fly solo, which is probably twice a year, I get called to a conference where it's just me. I have enough points. I upgrade myself to
Yeah.
first class. And I will tell you the conversations as a business owner, the conversations that I have in first class with other typically entrepreneurs or business people have been phenomenal. Um,
Oh, that is great.
yeah, a recent trip that I took from from Minneapolis to LA for an award ceremony. I sat next to Joe Troman from Fall Out Boy. We had a 3.5 hour conversation. It was phenomenal.
Oh my gosh.
So
And that
there
does,
are
that says
things
a lot. As a business person, as someone like yourself who's an entrepreneur, you don't know who you might meet in first class and they're stuck in that seat next to you. Wow,
correct.
what a great opportunity for you get to know them, they get to know you. That could be future business dollars.
100%, 100%. I sat next to another gentleman one time that had done regional sales for a very large grill company. And he started with one grill company. And then when they got too big for their britches, he left because he liked the mom and pop style. And so just having that conversation
Yeah.
of what did he not like when they grew? Because as a business owner, of course, your intention is to grow. So just getting those insights from people, truly like that paid for the ticket, right? Like I could join a
Yes.
Tony Robbins mastermind and spend thousands of dollars, or I could just upgrade my flight using my points and have those great conversations.
Right. Oh, that's a great tip, Eve. That is huge.
I've thoroughly enjoyed almost every flight where I have upgraded myself to first class and chatted with the person next to me. I can't say I've had a bad experience in doing that, and I've always walked away with some sort of information, just some type of conversation that has either hit me personally or professionally. So definitely a huge value in that.
Yeah, definitely. So share some packing tips for going
Oh,
to these conferences because sometimes as business people, we need to present ourselves to the participants of the conference. I mean, most of the time we need to dress up a little, even in today's more casual environment. I think, I don't know, for myself, I'd like to dress up a bit. I think it says a lot when you
oh,
show up
100%.
that way.
100%. So in the dog world, we pretty much wear t-shirts and sweatpants all the time. Because we're picking up dog poop. That's what we do.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, I take full advantage. And then again, a lot of these I'm speaking or I have a booth. So I usually have to pack 2 to 3. I'm standing in front of people um, and presenting. And I went to a conference once where they talked about what to wear as a presenter.
Oh, nice.
And they said you always need a coat or a vest. You need a secondary layer because that just sets you up as being somebody who took effort in your look. And as somebody who likes to watch other people and goes to a lot of conventions, I will tell you, I pay more attention to somebody that comes out wearing a layered look.
Oh, I think we do. I think it's just that innate, it's that underneath message that this is someone to listen to. This is someone that maybe has more knowledge or authority.
Correct. Correct. Yep. So I always pack 2 or 3 white button down shirts because when I present, I'm nervous and I sweat.
Yeah, I think we all are.
Yep, yep. So that's the staple is the button down shirt, and then suit coats. And I always too make sure that they have a pocket because if I get nervous, I will put some crystals in my pockets, and so that way I can always stick my hand in there and play with my
Oh,
crystals. It just makes me feel better. And then plain pants. I try not to do any patterned pants. I have found when I watch people and they have patterned pants on, I find myself watching their legs as they walk back and forth.
oh no. Yeah.
Yeah. And one girl, they were gorgeous pants, right? They
Right,
were really
right.
cute. And they had like sparkles on the edges. And I just kept watching the sparkles as she walked back and forth. And so I wasn't paying attention. So plain pants, plain undershirt, a patterned or bright colored coat or vest, and then fun shoes.
Oh, nice.
So I am now known for my shoes. When I show up at a conference, they go, oh, what shoes are you wearing? Do they have
Yeah,
sparkles?
right.
So something that will set me apart.
Yeah, some little thing, like you said, an accessory kind of thing, with your shoes or
Yep.
scarves or hats or whatever it might be.
Something.
Yeah,
Yes. Yep, absolutely. When I first started speaking, I wore something lime green or hot pink because that was those are the colors of my dog daycare. And
yeah,
now that it's kind of evolved, and now usually I'm speaking on behalf of another business that is teal or turquoise is our color. So I usually have like a bracelet or something that is that color, or my shoes that are sparkly or that color. But yeah, so now I'm known for my shoes. And then, so the pants are plain and the undershirt is plain. So then when we go out for dinner that night, I can just change that suit coat or take that suit coat off. And I can soften it with maybe a sweater or a scarf or something. But the staple is still neutral enough that I don't have to pack another wardrobe.
right. Oh, that's super smart.
And then I just change my shoes
Yeah.
or I keep them on. It depends on how I'm feeling.
Have you found certain brands that you like that are more, wrinkle resistant or things that work for that so you're not always like, I gotta iron it and
Yeah.
it's gonna, have.
Vera Wang pants have been phenomenal. The white shirts, I've not found a brand. I just iron those every time. And I get a size larger than I normally would wear. So, if I'm a fitted medium, my white button down shirts are a large, just so that way if I want to tuck them in, I've got extra space. So when I move my
Yeah.
arms when I'm talking, it's not popping out of my pants. Um, so I do that. And then my shoes, Betsy Johnson has the cutest shoes.
Oh, great.
The cutest shoes. I love her shoes. Um, she's got sparkles with skulls on them and just sparkles and all sorts of fun patterns. So yeah, so we do a lot of those. And I shop a lot at TJ Maxx and secondhand stores because I only can wear those suit coats so many times.
Yeah, that's true. Right. Exactly. Oh,
You know, if I'm,
I actually love secondhand stores. I think there's such a wealth of choices there actually.
oh my gosh,
I mean, you have all different patterns and colors and you can easily try it on and you don't feel then like, "Oh my gosh, invested X amount of money into this, so if I wear it once and I don't like it or I spill something or it gets messed up, I can't just donate it, do
right.
away with it, get it out of my wardrobe."
Yeah, nope. I do a lot of secondhand shopping for those suit coats. Um, and then I'll wear it. So let's say I wear it at the East Coast conference, then I won't wear it at the West Coast in case the same people come to that one.
Right.
But I'll wear it to one other miscellaneous conference in there. So I do 8 conferences a year. So
Oh,
I'll wear it in
wow.
another one.
Yeah.
Then it goes to the back of the closet. So then maybe I won't wear it for 2 years and then I can recycle it and bring it back out. Or maybe I get rid of it because it didn't feel as comfortable in it as I thought I would. And then I always pack one extra suit coat just in case I'm just not
Yeah.
feeling what I did pack. I've got a backup. Or I put it on, I'm getting ready, and I slob something on it
Yeah.
or
I
what
mean,
have
it
you.
happens, right?
Yes, yep. So the staples are always there. And the other nice thing too, by just having those staples of like solid pants and a solid white shirt, most hotels, laundry service, right?
Right.
Super simple if I do need to, if we get delayed or what have you. So when I'm flying, I pack my after hours clothes. So usually just, a light sweater or something, or I'm wearing my logoed apparel for my business. I have several vests that I use for that. So that way, again, I can just put it on.
Yeah.
A casual pair of shoes. I always pack the swimsuit, but I never end up in the swimsuit. But I pack it just in case.
I do the same. I always have high hopes for that pool at the hotel, but
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm always traveling with people. So a bathrobe is a must for me, a skinny, thin, light bathrobe and a pair of flip flops to wear around the hotel room. So I pack my after hour stuff first, and then I pack my what am I going to wear for speaking. And I try on my suit coats all the time. Just to make sure I feel it. And then I pull out my accessories, what bracelets, what earrings do I want to wear? And so then I get that packed. Then I see how much room do I have and what do I weigh? Because sometimes if my weight is really high, I'll know I'll put some of my light swag stuff in there, like my sunglasses or my
Yeah.
bags. And then I'll take my toiletry items and put them in a different suitcase. So once we kind of get the clothes in there, then we start weighing to figure out where do we have space and whatnot. And then my swag items, those are pre-packed a week in advance because I always, if in case we have to order stuff, so we always get that in advance. So I already know what those weigh. So yep, now we play musical weight game of what do we put where. And shoes are super heavy. So I try
Yeah.
to only pack 3 pairs of shoes. I try and be really cognitive of my shoe choices, which is why they have to be comfortable. So sparkly tennis shoes work really well for that.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so that's key. Now, recently, in the last 2 years, several of the conferences have been, 12, 16 hours, and we have decided to drive.
Oh.
Yeah. So I drive an SUV. I have a Toyota Sequoia. And what we do is we take out the second passenger seats.
Oh yeah.
And so then I have the third row seat. So it feels like a stretch limo when you
Yeah,
hop into the back
exactly.
of my vehicle. We line the suitcases up so they actually make a nice little tray. And we travel with my Frenchie a lot. So my
Oh.
Frenchie does fly with us. She has a mesh backpack that she travels in. And so, yeah, she likes it. So we clear out a spot. So now she has her whole little area that she gets to travel in the car. And then we try and strategically stack the luggage behind that third row seat. So I usually don't see out the back window and cognitive of not hitting the brakes. And we've been pressing our luck, and we love to sleep at traveling J's or pilot gas stations. So we pull up just like the truckers do. We go in, we come back out. We have an umbrella that blacks out our front window.
Yeah.
We bought little screens to do the side windows, and we take a 4 to 5 hour nap, get up, and hit the road again.
Wow. That is cool.
It's different than flying.
Yes, much different, but at least that way you can travel with, your Frenchie. It's probably a little easier, I imagine, than flying with.
Yes, it is. And our biggest thing is some of the trade shows, when I travel to them, I buy out other trade show booths. So if there's a booth and they have a bunch of the dog bones and stuff that I sell in my retail area, I'll be like, how much for your booth? And they'll, okay. And we literally load that up into suitcases or vacuum seal Ziploc, like the
Oh,
huge, like
yeah,
you put a
those,
comforter in.
right, yeah,
We'll put all of them in there. Stuffed animals, we'll shove all of them in there. And then I just have housekeeping come and vacuum seal the bags for me. Um, but yeah, so we do that quite a bit now. That's kind of been our new thing instead of flying because my daughter, who's now 12, thinks that that is the coolest thing ever.
Oh, I bet, yeah. It's a road trip, so
It's a road trip, yes. And I will tell you, at this age of the game now, we can do some unique things. So we'll stop and see some friends or some clients of mine across the United States and maybe take a back road here or there and
yeah.
have a little history. Like we stopped outside of Memphis and we picked some cotton. And
Oh,
then we
wow.
can have a whole conversation of where does cotton come from? How does it get made into clothes?
Right.
Um, Downfall to driving is you're eating some pretty crappy food.
Yeah, that is a there are some definite food deserts, as I call them, in our 50 states when you're road tripping, and it's really unfortunate.
Yeah, so I try and do organic and gluten free as much as I possibly can. Yep, that gets really hard when we are road tripping.
Yeah,
So
it does.
we pack a cooler. I have a giant Yeti cooler. So downfall is it's not on wheels. So if
Oh,
we do happen to stop and spend the night at a hotel, it's a pain to get it up into the room. And then, half the room fridges are small, so it's not going to fit everything I have. So yeah, so it's had some challenges. The one travel hack that we have found that's helpful because we are traveling with our pets is we take a gallon milk jug, and we pour water in it and we freeze it.
oh,
And then that goes in the cooler and acts as our cooling mechanism. And then as it warms up, now it's water for the dog.
right. That is a good hack.
Or wash our hands,
Right,
whichever one is
exactly.
needed.
Right, right. Whatever you need. But yeah, that's a good hack. Just an old plastic milk jug or whatever. And
Yep. And then when we, so we spend 4 or 5 days at our hotel at the convention. Then when we go to travel back, again, if the refrigerator accommodated us, great. If not, we just take and we fill it up with all the ice cubes that we can into
yeah,
the
exactly.
jug.
You're stuffing the ice cubes, yeah, at night. Like, yeah.
It's a challenge. It's a teamwork challenge. We sit and one of us is holding the jug and one of us is slowly putting all of the ice cubes into there. But that has proven to be a pretty easy hack. And then there's a couple of the uh, truck stops that actually have dog parks now.
Oh, good.
So that has been great. So we've started to get to the point where we know um, which ones are doing it, and so we'll purposely try and like plot that out on our map. And Google Maps is great at that. You can put in, I want to stop at Flying J's, and you put that in there, and it will tell you where the next one is, or I want to stop at a Petro, or I want to stop at this one. And so that's been really helpful too. Again, when you're traveling with pets, having that little dog park, I can feed them,
Yes.
let them run around um, while we're grabbing some food or stretching our legs. So,
Yeah, Google Maps really has changed a lot. It's made it a lot easier to find things when you are road tripping, or how far is there something to go to a market even to get some other choices for food or pick something up if you need to.
yeah. And, construction obviously is always on there. But even, most recently in the last couple of months, there's been a lot of floodings. We drove out to Montana, and that's a 17 and a half hour drive for us. And we had to be redirected due to some flooding once we got to Montana.
Um,
There'd been some mudslides. So a couple of the roads were closed. Um, my daughter loves to be like, ooh, speed trap. Ooh,
oh,
you're on the side of the road. She loves to update that Google map.
well, that's good. She's a good co-pilot then.
She is, yep. So I mean, I'll have it on my phone and then she'll be in the far back and she'll have Google Maps up on her phone too. And yep, all of a sudden she'll be updating it as she sees stuff. So that's been great. And then when we travel, we call her Miss Google, my 12-year-old, because we'll be like, oh, I wonder what that building was over there.
Yeah.
And then she'll get on and she'll Google it, what city are we in? What would this building be? Or what type of manufacturing is in this town? So we've used the driving as an educational tool,
Oh, yeah.
something I never thought I would do.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. That's a great thing to do. So share about New Orleans. You mentioned that that's a city you would go back to multiple
Yes.
times.
So the first time I went to New Orleans, my daughter was 9, 8 or 9, and it was for an owners of dog daycare convention. We were right on the main part of town, so we could walk to everything. We would walk to Daisy Duke's and have breakfast. That became her favorite place to go have breakfast. We spent an entire week there. We walked down to the markets. So obviously, being in the animal world, Via Lobos, pit bull rescue is near and dear to our hearts. And so 4 days in a row, my daughter had us Uber out to Via Lobos and walk pit
Oh.
bulls.
Oh, wow.
She got to hang out with Earl from the TV show, and they were just chummy. We'd roll up, and Earl would come out. On the second day of us doing this, that night, we'd walk dogs probably around dinner time. And then we went out with a group of people for dinner. We went to a mall area, and there was a pet store. And they had like all these homemade things. And I was looking at funny canned koozies that says, I'm not
Oh,
single, I have a dog. And,
right.
it's not drinking alone if you're with your dog. And she's like, Mom, can we get some dog treats for Villalobos? So I was like, yeah, sure. Well, how many dogs are there? I said, well, at that location, I think that's like their sanctuary, like 300. And she
Wow.
was like, okay. I get up to the checkout. I've got my trinkety items, and the lady gives me the total, and I go, oh, what did I buy? She goes,
Yeah.
50 pounds worth of dog treats. I was like, oh, okay. Here's
Oh,
my credit
wow.
card.
Yeah, exactly. You're like,
My fault. My fault. But we brought Earl 50 pounds worth of dog treats that went to the Violet Slobos dogs. So that was great. While I was in convention, my mom and my daughter, everything is walkable. So,
oh,
and my mom
yeah.
walks with a cane. So, she doesn't go far. But they went to the butterfly museum. So they got to see all the butterflies flying around them. The boardwalk was beautiful. We went down to the French Quarter and walked around. Just the fact that they have historical things and yet newer
Yeah.
artistic things all combined into one city. And everything was walkable and easy to get to. Um, was just great. I mean, the nightlife there, phenomenal. We went to a dueling pianos bar, we went to a blues bar, like just
Oh,
all the different
wow.
places that you could go. I felt very immersed in culture there. So it was great. So that was my first experience in New Orleans, and I was like, oh my gosh, I would love to go back. So a speaking engagement came up, so hey, I'll come
Yes,
speak to your
please.
event. um, we were just 2 hotels down from the original one I stayed at, so I was
Oh,
familiar with the
good.
space. Walked down to Daisy Dukes and had breakfast, toured some other different areas, went and did an alligator tour.
Oh my
Thought that
gosh.
was phenomenal. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I just really enjoyed the people and the culture there. I mean, talk about a city that really holds its history and takes pride in it. Good and bad, I think was what I really liked about it too. They own their bad history. They own
Yeah.
up to it. And they've worked through so much, and just a really triumphant city. So I loved New Orleans. I think it's kid friendly, family friendly, girls trip friendly for sure. I've already talked to some of my staff. I'm like, maybe we should do a staff retreat,
Yes.
go stay in the French Quarter and just have a good time. And yeah, so I think New Orleans really does offer something for everybody there. So I'm in La Crosse, Wisconsin. I'm right on the Mississippi River. I'm just way north. So also too, just to see how things are different down there, being on the Mississippi River was very
Right.
fascinating to me.
Yeah. Well, it's great too because it sounds like a city you might not necessarily have to have a car once you get to where you're staying, which, for a lot of people that takes away all that like, well, I don't like to drive and get lost and, it's nice to be able to like ditch the car and do more walking and really enjoy a city that way.
Yeah, in fact, New Orleans streets are super narrow. When you start going down in that French Quarter and into the historical districts and where all the great food is, by the way,
Yeah.
the great food. And it doesn't matter if it's seafood or steak, like it is all good food. I'm a steak girl, and I've yet to have a bad experience in New Orleans eating food. And I think if I were to quantify it, I probably had 28 meals in New Orleans. So
Oh
it's
wow.
got good
Yeah.
food.
Yeah, and to say that they were all amazing, that's
They
great.
were, whether, yeah, it didn't matter. It was great and the service was good. But yeah, so that's really it. New Orleans is definitely one of those cities you don't want to take a car. You want to walk and you want to walk on the cobblestones and just really immerse yourself in it. And there's so many bus tours to go on. So that was one thing that's still on my bucket list is to do one of the
Yeah.
haunted cemetery tours. I would like to do that. There's horse-drawn trolleys and buggies and things like that. So that definitely was a highlight. I will say, anytime that somebody says they have a convention in New Orleans, I'm going to be like, yep, I will
Yeah,
speak for free.
right.
Just I will
Just
get there.
get me there,
Um,
right.
definitely the place I would love to return to. And that's really one of the interesting things is I worked in corporate America before all of this. Um, I did some minor traveling, and to think that a dog daycare owner now travels 8 times a year to all across the United States is amazing. Um, I actually, in 2025, will be speaking at the Impact 2025 conference in the UK. And
Oh,
it'll be my
nice.
first time traveling overseas. So I will be listening to the podcast to get tips and tricks on an overseas excursion.
Yeah, no, that's
Um,
amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it'll be exciting. So I'll be taking at least one staff member with me, and then my mom and my daughter will be coming with as well.
Yay.
So it I'm already like thinking, okay, we need adapters for our cell phones or all our cell phones work. Like, I'm already like
Yeah, yeah,
planning that list, so to speak. So yeah, I'm super excited about all of that.
and you probably will fly out of Minneapolis since they probably have
Yes,
better
most definitely.
choices for like international flights. So with the doggy daycare business, I'm sure, I don't know if it's a service you offer. A lot of travelers now, they're pet owners and they're going to go away for a long time. They'd rather find a place to either board their pet or have a house slash pet sitter come and stay in their home to take care of their animals.
Yeah, so when pet owners need to travel, if they're taking their pet with, always have your vaccines. As you can hear my dog barking in the
Yes.
background. Um, and that is key. Just because if you ever run into a situation where you need to go see the vet, you got to have that information with you, and a lot of people forget that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and even when I board people's pets, we always ask for updated vaccinations. What veterinarian do they use? Pack extra food, because if you get delayed in any sort of
Yes.
travel, you need to have extra food and extra medication. That is an absolute must.
Are there questions that travelers should be asking if they've not boarded a pet and they're trying to vet a particular place to leave their pet? Are there things they should be thinking about? Because, you know, different places do things differently. For a lot of people, it's a first time boarding a pet. They may not have thought about the things they need to be more prepared to make it a good experience for their pet.
Right. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. A lot of things that you want to ask are, um, what is their safety protocol? Do they have a alarm system? Is there some sort of fire safety system?
Yeah,
Um, how many times is their dog going to be let out? At what times are their dogs going to be let out? Because that's super important. A lot of people don't think about how often does their pet need to go outside. That's going to mimic how it is at home, especially if it's a young pet or an old pet.
right. Yeah, those are excellent questions. So, Eve, tell people how they can reach out to you, find out more about your business in lacrosse, and all the good stuff. Oops.
So I have several. So Fun for Pets is my primary daycare, but most people can find me at Dog Handler Academy. That's my online employee platform. We have a Facebook page where I'm always dropping tips and tricks for entrepreneurs, not just in the dog daycare field, but in the entrepreneurial world, especially if you have a brick and mortar with staff. So that's the best place to find me. And I really enjoy engaging with other people. And if people have tips and tricks for me to travel overseas, I would love to hear those.
Thank you so much, Eve. It's been a great conversation, and hope to chat again with you about your trip overseas.
Thanks. We'll see you soon.